He probably would have preferred a more of a lumpy finish, especially with Valverde. If this comes to the line, my money's going to have to drift towards Rosa versus Valverde for the sprint for the line, but count none of these guys out of it, because you're never quite sure at this part of the season about form. They may be approaching their best, but who is absolutely the best today? We'll find out in just over 5Ks.
Well, the strongest rider to me looks like it is Alejandro Valverde. Those are devastating attacks on the climb. Clearly, Contador is feeling good, but should it come down to a sprint, as we said before, Valverde is going to be your man. But the danger man at the moment, and the rider sat in the slipstream of the three Spaniards, is the Italian Diego Rosa. As you say, 27 years of age now, making his debut for Team Sky. And what an impressive debut it is. But of course, he has his teammate behind. 7 seconds is the gap. Now, will the other two riders, will Reichenbach and Poles, get in contact?
Great to see an insect on a camera lens. You know the spring is coming. In fact, you get a few of those in your teeth. Well, they're carrying, I guess, pirate style, a veritable knife between their teeth at the moment, because they have brought their weaponry to this one, and it's going to be brutal. 4.5 kilometers to go. Let's talk about the run-in. There is a pesky roundabout with 350 meters to go. They've got to take that, almost like that pesky fruit wasp. He needs to get out of there so we can keep an eye on these guys. A quartet with 6 seconds. They're going to be joined in a few moments' time by Poles and Reichenbach. It's going to become a sextet, and what a run for home this is going to be. You're looking at the head of the race right now. I think to go long, it's going to have to be Union Cycliste. If he doesn't, then he's likely to get mugged, and everyone else is, I think, by Valverde.
I think just looking at the way that Cycliste was pulling on the front there, all of these three Spanish riders in the group, Contador, Valverde, Cycliste, working really hard on the front. They know the other two riders behind are a little bit of a danger, but they also have to be worried about this rider sat in 4th place, Diego Rosa of Team Sky.
Wow, 3.7 to go. It's going to be 6 in the run for home. We drew some highlight pens, of course, over those that we thought may well be a feature in this race. And every single one of these guys has had our thoughts before we even started. There's not that many, maybe about 20 riders to consider, but we really have got the cream of the crop right here, right now.
It's great. These early season races are absolutely fantastic. And well, Poles, last turn, last roll of the dice, just trying to eat into that lead, just closing that gap. So some really shrewd riding there by Diego Rosa. Team Sky are the squad with the upper hand now, but with 3Ks to go, will we now see Team Sky assist with the pacemaking, or are they going to wait? A little bit of a lull here. We don't know where the other riders are. If they stop working now, Carlton, other riders could get back into contact. Riders like Rigoberto Urán, for example.
It's very late. Who's your pick?
Valverde.
Me too. Who's your cider?
Cheeky side bet, Reichenbach.
You've done it again, haven't you? You can see me pointing at him. 2.7 kilometers to go.
But Team Sky are the team that need to try and come away with this victory. Right. They need to sort it out amongst themselves. It's going to be very interesting.
I'm going to go for Cycliste just as a cheeky one. But anyway, they pick it up, and it's Diego Rosa on his debut that pushes on. This is all helping, don't forget, about Poles, who I guess has allowed a bit of respite. They're the new boys in this sextet. Reichenbach is at the back at the moment, but possibly for not much longer. He's just getting a good bit of vision here. Now here's one of the roundabouts. They're going to go under this one, so they'll pass under this as we come into Granada. Shame we're not finishing at the Alhambra Palace. 2.2 kilometers to go. They'll go later. So will we. 2.1 kilometers remaining. A quick check over the shoulder by Wout Poels. I think he was possibly ejecting, just clearing his sinuses. That's the polite way of saying it. Valverde is clearly the danger here, and I think he is. He's going to take this. But unless Cycliste goes on an early one, but it's too late right now. He'd have to be doing it right now with 1.8 to go. 350, they have to take a roundabout. They do go over it, but that's a difficult thing to master. Poles is tightening up his shoes as well. Valverde's already there. He's picking up the pace. Looking at them now, it's Rosa that's gone off the front. Also here is Contador, and bridging over to them is Union Cycliste. Well, he'd have to go by them straight away right now if you're going to have a chance. You can't bring... if you're in a knife fight, you've got to be fully tooled up, and every single box of that is ticked by Alejandro Valverde at the moment.
Well, I think what was happened here, Diego Rosa has had a bit of a conversation. This is a long straight run into the line now, and when you think about the prowess of Wout Poels in the sprint, look back to Liège-Bastogne-Liège where he outpaced in completely different conditions, of course. He is sitting pretty, he's waiting for the sprint, but just behind him, there we go.
Rijkenbach over the top, he's going for a long one. He had to do this, to be honest. Well, he can time trial, but Valverde goes with him. Oh, Rijkenbach still pulls out a bit of a gap. Valverde starts to panic because he knows he's offering up aero assistance to those behind him, and then sailing straight into the void. Brilliantly so, Contador does so, and closing down the gap, Jonas Aguirre, who takes a last gel as if to say, I don't need this, I don't need this. Look, I can have myself a snack. 800 meters to go, and Rijkenbach, good little bit of a cattle prod to everybody out there, just to keep them on their toes. The man who did least work there, of course, was Wout Poels. Now, when will he go? 700 meters to go, possibly just before the roundabout, because if you're going to try and go round a rider, that's not the place to do it. That will leave him 300 meters once that unwinds to get to the line. We'll be at the roundabout in 150.
Well, it's a Rijkenbach on the back, not a hard enough attack for me. Pretty much telegraphed his move, and it wasn't too hard for Alejandro Valverde to bring him back. And it is Valverde, the out-and-out favourite, the fastest rider as they come into the last 400 metres.
Izaguirre goes for it. Rosa's out of the saddle as well, and Poels is picking this up. Poels is going for it. He's got Rijkenbach in the white just behind him. Valverde's starting to fade here, is he? He's holding on to it for the time being. Poels is coming through. Oh, and Valverde kicks again and delivers. Oh, outstanding stuff. Valverde takes it ahead of Poels. Oh, what a superb day this has been. Rosa in the frame, so was Rijkenbach. Virtually nothing to choose between them. No bonus seconds here, don't forget. So the battle will rage on as we go at Pena del Aguila tomorrow. What a race, what a day, and what an opener to the Vuelta Andalucía. Gracias, I think we need to say to everybody.
Well, it's a big doff of the cap all round. What a superb stage. That was Mikel Landa of Team Sky. So some real good climbers. Haven't been too distanced. Many riders spread all over the road, but I think it was Weening who crossed the line as well. So lots of riders still in contention. Here is the sprint. Just sheer and utter brute force and power from Alejandro Valverde. Remember, this is a kind of rider who can win small bunch sprints. Takes it by a length and a half from Wout Poels. Think it was Diego Rosa who just snatched third place ahead of Sebastian Rijkenbach. This is all about power, all about explosivity, punches the air with delight, nearly throws himself off his bike in the process. What a win by Alejandro Valverde. 2 out of 2 for him.
Wow, he almost hit the barriers here. Here's the celebration. The Colombian fans are just on an indented part of the hoardings. He got away with it. And indeed, he bridged, I should say, nobody could bridge to him. He was out of the saddle and back in it as if it was on fire, to be honest. He was trying to get the drive. He was clearly exhausted at the end, but he had more than everybody else. And I think that is the truth of it. And indeed, maybe the tale to tell. The winner of this race is likely to come from that group, I would have thought, by the end of these 5 stages.
It does look like it. Let's watch these riders come across the line. It's our rider on the right in the centre of the screen for Sunweb. It looks like Sam Oomen was in that group. Another group of 25 to 30 riders. This field completely exploded on that final climb of the day.
There is the last seat of the Moorish Empire in Spain. Granada, where the king of the Moors was set on a boat and headed back to Africa. And his mum told him off. Said you were useless, it was your fault. Well, I don't think anyone was at fault in that group at the end, but they just came up against a stellar talent that always starts the season so strongly because he doesn't rest. Alejandro Valverde, he races to keep his form, and he races all year. There's no downtime for that man, and he's on the up again.
Yeah, not imperious form today. A real tactical display as well. Followed Contador rather than attacking. Alberto Contador showed his hand, but we know that Alberto Contador had to attack. Here is the winner today. This is when he distanced Contador in the last few hundred meters of the climb today. And it looked at one point as if he might actually ride away to another victory solo. A real profile of descending prowess. Sat on the top tube there of his canyon.
Well, thanks to all of you, by the way, who've spared us your thoughts. So much was happening. It was so dramatic. We never got to you today.
Did we?
Yeah, we didn't.
No social media today.
At Real Stevens or at Carlton Kirby, if you'd like to spare your thoughts on today. But for my mind, this day and possibly this race belongs to Mr. Andalucía, Alejandro Valverde. He's won it 4 times in the last 5 years. He may well win it again because the power he displayed at the very end, all credit to Reichenbach as well, a great strength towards the end. He finished in 3rd place, but I think all these guys will be given the same time, possibly a second difference. I don't think so, but I think it'll all be the same time for those 6. And really, when you look at the names that we've got here, Izagirre, Contador, Valverde, Poles, Rosa, Reichenbach, to my mind, you're looking at